Hi, my name is...
I have a bucket list.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yes, I actually have a bucket list, and skydiving is a big thing on that. And 2 years ago, me and my sons were talking about doing it, but last year we got really serious about talking about doing it.
But unfortunately, my youngest wasn't 18 yet.
So we were ready to do it and ready to really take it seriously, but my youngest hadn't turned 18 yet, so we can't do it. So we had to wait. And we start going through the process of it, and I look through everything that's involved and see a big HC for handicap. And I wondered if
their accommodations would
work with me and fit, and we'll just have to see. So I end up calling them, and we have a discussion about it.
They actually called me on VRS.
And in the call, they called me on VRS, so I thought that's a really good start. And the morning of, we were getting there, and we were all ready, and I was looking at it, and I didn't know where to go, but I suddenly saw on the floor these big yellow footprints. So I knew exactly where to go. We went up, and on the video where they were showing things, there was speech and there was closed captioning, and it was accessible, and I was able to understand it. And they said, go ahead and sign.
They required a verbal agreement.
And they did require a verbal agreement, but
which is why I was able to sign.
But I was able to sign for the verbal agreement.
So we go ahead and start waiting for the plane to go, and we're all just kind of murmuring about. It took about an hour, but I had an instructor, because remember, it's a tandem dive, so I was not allowed to dive alone. And he asked me if I was deaf, and he just immediately started signing. He wasn't even fazed by it, which I really liked. It was cool. Because typically, they aren't so chatty. But it was cool because my two sons, they were sort of paired with people who had similar personalities to them. The personalities matched because one's really chatty, and he got matched with someone who's chatty as well. And my other son isn't so chatty, and that happened as well. But I noticed that the instructor had an accent, and he was sort of guiding me through the process of strapping me into the harness. He let me know subtly that when you're strapping in, you should...
He let us know that we should be aware of our dongs and not...
He let us know that we should be aware of our dongs while we were strapping in. And so when I hoisted one leg up, I also was told to... He gestured to me, which kind of took me by surprise. He gestured to lift up my dong, and then he strapped me into the other side. And then I was ready to go.
I understood.
And I understood completely. So it's important while skydiving that you're strapped in correctly, because if you move incorrectly, you're pretty much done for.
Especially the parachute.
So we were exchanging notes.
So we were exchanging notes and talking about things and figuring it all out. And they had a waiting bench that we were waiting on, and I asked somebody, so how long are we gonna have to wait for? And the person said, just 1 minute, 1 minute. And I looked out at the window, and there was a plane that was just coming in, and it was really small, and then a propeller, and had just landed, and it was really quick. And we got in, we climbed up a ladder, and I was like, oh, we're going now. And usually on the commercial planes, it's super long. We have to get on the plane. People go really slowly, and they have to check everything. And it just takes a really long time to get all seated and get off. But this one was really fast. It was really different. It had only 2 rows and 1 seat on each row. And we got on and took off really quick. So we were ready to go, and we all took off. And I was like, is this really happening? My support instructor was behind me checking to make sure I was all good to go. And we started getting higher and higher in the air. And the ground started getting lower and lower as I was looking out the window. And I was like, okay, we need to get up to 14,000 feet. And they were like, are we ready soon?
He was like, oh, we're only at 9,000 right now. We need to get more. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, that's fine. So the plane keeps going up, and I see my oldest, and he seems like he might be the last, and the youngest will be first, and I'm second, and so he's gonna be third. And then, oops, I realized there was last minute change, so he goes out first, and I'm last, and there's really no time to like look down and freak out because they just push you, and all of a sudden you're falling, and that's called a free fall, and it's only a minute, and there's really nothing that can compare to that experience. And so my instructor said that he was going to tap me before we had to deploy the parachute, because if we did it too soon, we would get wrapped up in the plane's propellers, and that's really dangerous. But so I'm just looking around at the view, and you know, the plane has a window, but it really doesn't do it justice to see everything in a panoramic view. And we were just spinning, and everything was flashing by, and then we stopped, and the instructor was really good at controlling which way we were going. And then he tapped me, and it could because it had been 1 minute, and the parachute released, and it hurt my neck a little bit, but it released, and the instructor was going ahead and controlling it and steering it, and we did some turns, we went in different directions, left and right, and spinning all around, and I was like, oh my gosh, wow. And so we glided to the ground.
And we're heading down, and from the plane down to the ground, the entire time it was all just 5 minutes and then done. And as we go onto the ground, we sort of skid down together, and then it was all done, and we stand up, and I noticed that my oldest
My younger son was on the ground, and my oldest went to check on him, but it found out that the youngest was unconscious. And, you know, we were also full of adrenaline that we really didn't know what to do. You know, the pressure, altitude change as we were descending, our bodies
weren't used to that experience. Really wow. So we decided to go out to eat, to go to In-N-Out. So we were eating, and it just was really a calming experience, and we were discussing everything that had just happened.
And would I do it again? We'll have to see.